Well, you might be wondering why I've got a bowl of soapy water here. Well, the reason is that I want to make a mould of a walnut shell to make some jewellery with. Now, I've got some walnut shells that I had when I was eating some walnuts, and I tried to keep these cracks. Now, I want to make sure they're really, really clean before I start to even think about moulding them. So what I'm going to do is leave them in there and taking a very mild wire brush, just go over there in this warm soapy water and get them as clean as I possibly can. And it's really important to get them clean if you want to get the best mould. Now these are going to have a dull finish to them, so I'm going to show you how you can get a really nice shiny finish to what you want to mould, so that next time when you go to use resin with it, it will actually give you a really nice shiny finish. Well, they're all clean now. They didn't take long, couple of minutes. Now what I'm going to do before I do anything else to them is just go around and scrape these edges to make sure there's nothing there that is going to prevent that from sticking down to the piece of plastic that I'm going to use as my box for moulding them, and put them to one side. Now what you want to do is ensure that these are completely dry. While they're drying in there, what I'm going to do is make the box to actually put them in, and I'm just making it out of cardboard, but you have to do something with the cardboard to ensure that it doesn't leak. So I'm going to cut it to the size that I want, so anyone can make moulds. It is so easy. Don't be intimidated by the thought of making a mould. Honestly, it is so easy. Anyone can do it, especially with the silicone that I use, which couldn't be easier to use. So I need to make sure that my mould is going to be big enough for each one of my walnuts. Well, those walnuts now are dry, look, because they've gone very pale, and now I can line these up so I know about the size that I'm going to need. And you want to try and space them out so that you've got the minimum amount of gap between them, because that way you're just saving on your silicone and everything else, because you don't need a massive gap between them. So all I do is I keep playing around with it until I know that I'm happy. Yep, I'm happy with that. There is a bit too much space here in between. So what I can do there is put some smaller nuts, which are these pistachio shells, and I can pop those in between. Now these have already been cleaned, and that way that'll give me some pistachio nut shells as well if I want them. And all I need to do to make that silicone proof is go over it with some tape. And this is just packaging tape like this, making sure that I cover the whole of this actual piece of cardboard and all the sides as well, and pushing that down really well. And then I'll overlap the next bit, and then I can build the box, the whole box, out of bits of cardboard like this. So I've got all my bits covered now, and what I need to do is attach them to make them into a box, and that couldn't be easier. All I'm going to do is place my tape on my mat there like that. Place a piece on there, like so, with the shiny sticky side up, and then line that up, leaving a slight gap, as you can see, on there, like that, and then trim my tape off all the way around, close to the edge. And look, once you've lifted that up, you've got one side of a box. If I go round and do them all like that, then I can lift them up and then put some tape around the edge. And you've got a box. You've got the box. You 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 got the box. Oh, Jordan, don't leave them in. So now they're all completely stuck together. Look, all I need to do is lift these up like that. Put a bit of tape on them. Keep them in place to start with, so they're not just flapping about everywhere, because that does your head in. So now they're all in place, what I've got to do is make sure that that seam is completely sealed. And now I'm going to just go around that like that with some tape. And I like to do it twice, because if there's going to be a weak point, it's going to be those corners. And then again, the same for these edges as well. And I'll go around all of them like that. So it doesn't take long to make these boxes at all. And now what I'm going to do is go over all of these with some gloss varnish. Now, if you've got spray varnish, then use spray varnish. Honestly, it will not matter as long as it's fully coated. Do you like my little thing? This stops me knocking over stuff. I made this in a video a little while back. It is so useful. I use it all the time. So all I'm going to do is go over this with some gloss varnish, making sure that I get into every nook and cranny of this walnut shell, and I will actually give it 2 coats of varnish to ensure that I've got it really, really well covered, and that way it's going to be lovely and glossy. Again, I'll probably just pop these into my resin curing machine to cure these up quicker and dry this varnish a lot quicker so I can get on with pouring it. Because if your mould's glossy, then your finished result will be glossy. If it's a matte item you're casting, then your finished mould will be matte. Well, these are all fully dry now, and it's really important to make sure they're fully dry because you don't want this varnish pulling off when you take your silicone off. And now I need to put these into here. What I'm going to use is my hot glue gun and go around these edges here with a bead of hot glue and then stick them down. Now, I don't want this to bleed out too much, but I do need it to stick right down because if not, I'll lose a lot of the silicone where it'll go just under the shell. And then I'm going to push those quite firm onto there because if there is any gap, then hopefully that glue will fill that gap. Okay, that's not going to move. I'll fill this little box up and then I'll show you how to mix up your silicone and how to pour that. They're all glued in there now and they're lovely and sealed. They're not going to come out, which is great. I'm going to be using the silicone rubber by J. Diction and it's translucent clear, non-toxic, bubble free, 5 to 7 hours cure time. It's super soft, which is great for molds. There's no odor, it's durable and it's ultra elastic. And all I have to do for this is mix up 1-to-1 by weight. So that's really easy to do. And I do like these 1-to-1 silicones because some of the silicones that you can buy and some of the rubbers and that you can buy are actually quite caustic, and you need to make sure that you've got masks and all that sort of thing on while you're using it. So this is a really nice, easy to use and fairly safe silicone, but always follow the manufacturer's instructions, and there's always warnings on the back as well as health warnings and any other things that you need to take care of. And then once you've got it all in there, what you need to do is mix this for 3 to 4 minutes, making sure that you not only scrape the sides but also the bottom and whatever it is that you're using to mix it with. Don't mix it fast. You don't need to mix it fast. You just need to ensure that every bit of it is mixed in together. Well, my silicone's all mixed up now, so I'm ready to pour that. But before I pour that, what I'm going to do is give this a spray of silicone mold release, and it just makes life so much easier. So now that's done, all I need to do is pour my silicone over the top. Now, I pour it slowly, and what I'll do is I will pour over the top of each one of the shells first. That helps to avoid getting any trap bubbles. It also gives you a much cleaner casting at the end, I always find. Now, that walnut cracked as I put it down, and I'm just hoping that this isn't going to cause too many problems. It was quite a thin shelled one, but we will see. I didn't take it out because if it doesn't work, then that's only one of them. Now I've got each one of those walnuts covered. What I'm going to do is fill this up so it's about 4 or 5 mil, maybe just a little bit more above the tallest walnut shell. There we go, that should do it. And now I'll leave that. Leave this in somewhere that's warm, not a cold room, because the last thing you want to do is discourage this from setting up. So leave it in a warmish room and it should take between 5 and 7 hours. Well, this is all nice and cured now and it should be easy to remove from the box. All I'm going to do is with a knife cut down these corners, and then I can reuse this box again by just taping it up. And then the walnut shells just pop out. If there's any silicone that has gone underneath, you can just trim that away, but it should probably come out fairly easily. These didn't fill up, so none of it got through. And because we sprayed it with the mould release, that'll come out really easily. There we go. So we've got one mould. And that has come out, I think, exceptionally well. I can really see the details in there. I'm not sure if the camera is picking that up. What I'm going to do is I always do a first cast in a mould first to get rid of any bits that may be there that I don't want. And that way I can ensure that the actual mould itself is lovely and clean. If you've got any tatty bits on your mould like this, just go round and trim them off. But look how great and flexible that is. Ooh, lovely and flexible. Boing, 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 boing. So if you're a beginner to mould making or you've never made mould making before, honestly, it is so easy. Making simple moulds like this, never worry about it, because the more you worry about it, the less likely you are to make one. And they do always come out okay, I think. So let's pour some resin in that and we can see what they look like once they've been poured with resin. I'm ready to test this mould out now, and these four I'm going to do with a chameleon powder. And I'm putting this on here with one of my little sponge brushes because I find that these add the chameleon powder really well. Let's make sure I've got everywhere. So these are now painted. I've done them with a different colour chameleon powder going all the way around, and I think they look lovely. The other four I'm going to do using a gold mica powder and fill these with gold mica powder as well. So I've got my resin mixed up now and my gold mica powder. I'm going to fill all of them with this, trying not to overpour, which is almost impossible for me. Big thank you to all my members whose names are coming up now. The membership has just grown so well. We have such a great group and supportive and helpful people in there. And if you'd like to benefit from all the perks of being a member, then the link for that is in the description below. I think you'll find you'll get such great value from it. And I look forward to seeing you becoming a member. Well, they're all filled up now. What I'm going to do is put them to one side, let them cure up, and then I can show you what they look like and how well that mould has come out. And then you'll just see how easy it is to make your own moulds. Now these are cured, let's take a look at them. I'm quite looking forward to seeing these. So I'm going to take the gold ones out first. So they're the gold ones, and they've come out as brilliant looking walnuts. So you could drill a little hole in those and wear them as pendants or turn them into something. But this was really about showing you how easy it is to make moulds. Look how pretty that's come out with the chameleon powders on. Love that one. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that is really beautiful. Look at all the detail in there. So it's so easy to make. Oh, that one's spectacular. I love that. And the little ones, the little pistachio nuts. So, simple mould, but really effective. You can mould anything, really, without too much trouble. So don't be afraid of it. Just give it a go. It's a great beginner's project to start with, is simple things like this. And you'll learn so much. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Boot that like button, hit that subscribe button. Check out the video that I've got coming up next. It's another mould making one, and I think you'll really enjoy this, and it will take you slightly to the next level. But most of all, enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye.